We continue to hear rents are dropping across the United States, but what's going on in Southern California? We are going to share in the Southern California Rental Market Report. And stick around to the end where we discuss the rent lock and what it means. Hey there. Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates. We've been helping tenants and landlords understand their rights before things go wrong. We are going to run through the number of units that have rented and the median price they rented at, broken down by unit type for Orange County, LA, Riverside, San Diego, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties. Diving into the rental numbers for Southern California. Remember, California Regional MLS is where we get these. There's a lot of different places to get the data. We're using the MLS. This is a fraction of properties that are leased out. Landlords are using Zillow, using Craigslist, which you shouldn't be. Do not use Craigslist landlords or renters, and other sites as well to get their properties out there. So this is a partial picture of the data, but a picture nonetheless. So first thing we're looking at for October is going all the way back to 2019 to see what the general trend is. We have it broken down by unit mix. There's a lot of data here. That's why you need to subscribe to our email newsletter so you can look closer. When we look at the number of units that are rented, broken down into unit type, the black line is where we are today. We can see that it's in the middle, so that we don't see a crazy number of folks moving like we saw in other years. 2021, for example, things were way down and they were even lower, but 2020 there was movement going on at this time of year. So we could see that the most popular unit mix, the most popular floor plan in Orange County is a 3-bedroom, 2 bedrooms as well. And you will see that studios and 1-bedrooms don't show up much in the data for any county. Let's now look at the median rents to see what's happened. The bottom line is going all the way back to 2019. The top line is the current year, the month we just came out of, 2023. Hope you had a great Halloween. And we can see that in Orange County for all unit types, that there has been an increase year over year and dramatic increases when you go back a few years. So just bear in mind that the studios and 1-bedrooms, there aren't as many. And some counties, you won't see any studios at all. So they may not be statistically significant to look at those numbers. But you can see in the 2, 3s, and 4 pluses that there were plenty of units that rented and that rents have gone up dramatically. And stick around to the end where we talk about what is happening here and what the significance of this dramatic increase in rents is. So while we're hearing nationally that rent increases have slowed down, and we do see that here, when you go from 55 to 5,600, that is a smaller increase year over year than we had from, say, 2020 to 2021. That's a bigger percentage increase. So rent increases appear to be slowing in all these different unit types, but they're still going up. So despite hearing that rents have dropped in some places across the nation, in the data for Orange County, we are not seeing it when we pull the data. Moving into Los Angeles, again, the black line this year in the center, essentially. So showing that certain times there's been more movement and other times there's been less movement. It looks like the 2-bedrooms and 3s are more popular here. 2s appear to be the most popular. 4 plus aren't quite as popular. Now, 1-bedrooms, while it's a smaller number, there are enough there for it to be statistically significant. So hard for me to say when we look at the dollar amount. So we can see there were enough 1-bedrooms to pull a trend out of there. So we kind of look like we're bumping at a ceiling of affordability for 1-bedrooms. Looks like $2,580 last year, $2,500 this year. So at some point in time, a 1-bedroom, the folks just aren't going to be able to pay any more in rent. Maybe there's only 1 income or only 2 incomes there for that 1-bedroom. So we're seeing a ceiling there. 2-bedrooms went up. We don't see that dramatic increase between 2021 and 2022. We see a small increase year over year. 3-bedrooms, small increase year over year. We had a drop in the 4 plus. Now 4 plus is the biggest category. That's going to include any condo or rental that's got 4 bedrooms and more, and it's going to include a lot of houses. So that's the biggest category in many cases, although the numbers there you saw were smaller than 2s and 3s. We had a drop from 2021 to 2022, but it has since rallied back. So that year over year increase is very big for the 4 plus in LA. Riverside, see how the unit mix is skewed here more towards larger units. So the 3s and 4 plus are most popular. Now there's a slight drop off in folks moving in the 4 plus size units. We can see that we're at a lower number here versus other years. And then let's see what's happening to rental rates. Studios ignore one bedroom, not quite enough twos. We see a drop in twos, and threes we see a drop as well. So it's only the 4+ where we're seeing an increase year over year in rental rates. So that middle of the market, the twos and threes, definitely seeing a drop again as we're pushing affordability for rental rates in Riverside. Remember, these are the new rental rates, so these are when folks move in. These would be the numbers, and there's nothing that caps the new rental rate for a landlord when they set that. They just set it at market rate. San Bernardino, another market that's skewed to the 3s and 4s. Again, the drop in the 4s. Not as many people at the 4+ moving. They're staying put, it looks like, based on what we're seeing here in the numbers for 2023. And then studios and 1s. Not enough data to pull much out of there. 2s, definitely an increase there. 3 an increase, 4+ an increase. So we're seeing an increase in rents. This looks somewhat similar to LA and Orange County. Definitely an increase year over year. Ventura, a market that's always marching to its own drummer, and we can see right in the middle. Consistently for 2023, number of people moving has been in the middle as compared to these recent years. Nothing significant here. Looking at the 2s, 3s. So 2s and 3s, that middle of the market, there was an increase, slowing year over year. 4+ has dropped. So we saw a drop in 2022 from 2021. That was a big drop. And then 2023, it rallied back, but not as high as it was back in 2021. So that's an interesting trend we haven't seen anywhere else in Southern California. San Diego, so on the lower level for the number of folks moving, doesn't look like there's much movement going on in 2023. People staying put. And we can see that this is a market where 2 bedrooms are the most popular. So let's see what's happened here. Studios and 1s, not as statistically significant. 2s, we saw that there was a drop in 2022, and then it increased and exceeded the previous record here in 2023. And we have some bigger increases in 3s and 4+. So that could be a reason we're seeing fewer people moving when they look at these new rental rates and these big increases in rental rates that we're seeing year over year in San Diego for the larger units. They're just going to stay put. So that's why we could see it in those numbers where the number of folks moving has dropped. Don't even think about buying or selling in Southern California without reaching out to us first. We're actually the real estate agent that other real estate agents hire to sell their properties. No joke. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I want to talk about rent lock. And we were talking about this in the office as Michelle, my operations director, was pulling these numbers and we're putting together in the chart. This is analogous to the interest rate lock that sellers have. Sellers are locked in right now at 2s and 3s and 4s. So the idea of selling and going out and buying something else that's gone up significantly in value and at an 8% interest rate, your payments are going to double, triple. It's going to be a huge movement in your payment. So a lot of sellers are deciding not to sell. We have a similar situation with rents. Rents went through the roof in the past few years. We can see it on this chart here for Orange County, for example. So you could see where if you had moved into a 3-bedroom in Orange County in 2019, and let's say you paid this median price of $3,200, and maybe your landlord increased the rent, maybe they didn't. By the next year it's $34. Maybe the landlord increased it again, or maybe they only gave you $100 or $200, so it's $38. So you can quickly see that if increases were small, non-existent, or were even part of the rent cap. So under the Tenant Protection Act of 2019, you could, at least in 2019, and when your landlord went to do an increase and you're in a unit where it was protected by AB 1482, make sure you check out our videos on that. Your rental increase would have only been around 6 or 7% maximum of that at that time. And the most recent one was 10, so some landlords did give bigger increases. But in many cases, tenants are way behind. I hear people on my channel talking about how landlords in exempt properties have to double the tenant's rent in order to get it to market because they waited so long. So this is an interesting thing where rental rates are locked for certain people. Now, if you're exempt from AB 1482, in a house, for example, landlord could go to market at any point in time they want to. But if you're in a property that's covered by the Tenant Protection Act, you're protected. Your rent will only go up so much every year. So as a renter, you are rent locked. And this is also for the landlord as well. Landlord is locked in with these lower rents. Some properties cannot get them up to the new higher rents because it's also difficult under the Tenant Protection Act to terminate a tenancy unless you're going to do specific things like a substantial remodel. Again, we've released content on that. So it's important to understand that some renters may want to move, but they look around and they can't afford it anymore. Just like some sellers look around and they aren't going to sell because they can't even afford their own neighborhood anymore. So we will have to see the effect on the market as renters are rent locked. Do you know a renter or landlord who's rent locked? Or maybe you are yourself. Share your stories below. We want to hear from you. Oh, and if you like this video, you're going to love this next one here. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and we can't wait to hear from you.